My capstone project and community clinical hours took place with the University of Missouri Trauma Center, Trauma Outreach, and Injury Prevention team. Throughout the semester, the team that I was a part of presented trauma prevention material to alternative high schools around the state of Missouri. The focus was on drinking and driving, drug use while driving, distracted driving, and seatbelt use. This included an interactive presentation and activities that correlated. For example, we had alcohol goggles, marijuana simulations, and distracted driving simulations. For my capstone project, I created the PowerPoint that we used to present with, and these are some of the slides from it. The PowerPoint was created to foster an open conversation with the students we were trying to reach. It was presented in a conversational format because the class sizes were generally 5 to 12 students.
That's why you carry a knife in your car with a seatbelt cutter.
This project is public health because our goal is to decrease trauma associated with preventable behavior and keep people out of the hospital. This project specifically targets the vulnerable population of high school students. This is a vulnerable population because they are more likely than other age groups to participate in risky behavior behind the wheel of a car. I will leave behind the PowerPoint I created, and it will continue to be used to reach high school students around the state. This project is personally important to me because throughout the process I changed a lot of my own behavior, for example seatbelt use and cell phone use behind the wheel. But it is also important to me because this project will change high school students' thinking as well and can actually save lives and keep teenagers out of the hospital. In addition to the PowerPoint, each presentation included conversation and hands-on activities. With the small class sizes, I was able to reach students on a one-to-one level and get to know a lot of students' own life experience and family dynamics. This created a trusting and open, honest environment. The team I was a part of developed activities to show the dangers we talked about during the presentation. This included sobriety checkpoints, distracted driving games, and sensory perception disruption to simulate marijuana use behind the wheel. These will continue to be used with the presentation in the future. Through the implementation of pre-surveys and post-surveys, we found that after our presentation, students were less likely to drive under the influence of drugs and alcohol, less likely to use their phones while driving, and more likely to use their seatbelts. Students genuinely enjoyed and benefited from our presentations. Multiple students came up to us when we were finished and thanked us for taking the time to present to them. And a lot of teachers were already trying to sign up for the injury prevention team to come back to their school next year. What next? I think it would be interesting to interpret all of the data from the surveys throughout the semester and figure out what risky behavior students were most likely to participate in and target that, or include more research and activities to attempt to decrease that behavior in students we present to. Throughout the semester, students also brought up topics they were interested in, and they could be included in future presentations. For example, motorcycles and ATVs were brought up multiple times, and I think it is something we could address as a trauma prevention team. Throughout the process, I was most surprised at the honesty, sometimes brutal honesty, that the alternative high school students displayed. It really allowed for a conversation and questions to be asked freely. I had to initially adjust my style of presenting because of how engaged the students were, but it made for a more beneficial experience for me and the students.
Show what you got.
One challenge along the way was responding to the disagreements or objections that the students had with what we had to say. Another challenge was responding to the life stories that the students shared. Looking back, I would have tried to include the students more in conversation, ask more questions, ask their opinions about things, just open up the floor more to conversation, because I think that's when they learn the most. This experience will impact my future practice as a nurse because I will be more willing to listen to everyone's life experience because it shapes who they are. For example, some students refuse to wear seatbelts because of the experiences that they've had, or they were taught that by their parents. Everyone has their own story, and it's important to listen. Overall, this was a great experience for me and the students, and I think we all learned a lot.